Hi, and welcome to today's offering from the Refuse to Live Average Virtual Summit. Our guest was once on a path for her PhD studying at Harvard University. With many achievements, including being published, she chose to leave that career due to a physical disability. Moving into personal training, then discovering multi-level marketing, we are fortunate to now find her fulfilling her passions in the blogging world at yuliatutor.com. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to introduce to you the face behind the name Yulia Tutor. Hi, Yulia.
Wow, that is quite the intro.
How are you?
Good, good. It's been a crazy morning, but I'm still shining. And just for the record, I actually went to UBC and had an internship at Harvard.
Okay.
So, not falsely advertise that, but
Gotcha.
That was a great experience for sure.
Very cool. I hope to hear more about it. But so Yulia, what I hope to accomplish with the Refuse Summit is offer the viewers a collected solution on how to become their best expression. We spend a ton of time becoming our best versions, but I believe true happiness comes in when we express that. Right. So my focus is on how to do that most effectively and with the greatest impact possible. So you are very good when it comes to expressing your passion and helping make difficult concepts very clear. I've been watching your YouTube channels, and how you articulate some things is pretty incredible. So I am very grateful that you would come on the show, and maybe we can clear up some different things.
Definitely. And I think that's a great idea, because expression, and I've actually made a video about this, is the root of your happiness. Because if there's an incongruence of how you feel on the inside and how you act on the outside, that's when depression comes in. That's when anxiety comes in. And there's been a lot of studies done on people that even write for maybe even 15 minutes a day. As long as you're expressing yourself, they actually heal much faster whatever illness that they're going through, right? So I love the concept of expression, and I think you should always make that your mission to always express your passion and always be in alignment with that.
Cool. So you, one of your more recent posts that I noticed was about how great adversity enters into your life, and sometimes, I don't know if saying that that's a good thing is the right way to put it, but sometimes you definitely need it for different reasons. Maybe you can clear some of that up.
You won't know the reasons. At the time, you'll think, why the hell is this happening to me? Is God just bored and just zapping me for fun? Or is there a purpose here? So just to kind of give you, you said a little bit about my journey. I want to touch up, I know I don't have a ton of time, but I'll give you kind of like the short version. But there has been a lot of times in my life where, I thought I was going to go one way, and then nope, I get cut right off, and then I'm forced to go in a different direction. And the key is you gotta adapt, and sometimes we can't control the things that happen to us, but you can control the meaning you give to it. That is something we're in charge of our own reality, right? Whether you believe in whether you can manifest or whether everything is predetermined, regardless, it's the meaning that you make and the conclusions that you draw for it that give you a good quality of life to make you push forward. That's really all that matters. So I guess let's just talk about what happened with me.
Please.
Originally, I'm from Romania, and yes, I'm an immigrant. I'm here to take your jobs. I came with this mom, dad, brother in 1997, and I guess I came from a family where we're used to taking risks, we're used to taking leaps into the unknown, and creating a life for our own. And so I studied here. I ended up I love psychology, I love people, and I really felt that this is something I was born to do. I love communicating with people, and the fact that I could heal through my words and energy, that is something that's actually within us all. It's not like a special gift,
right? Sure.
But that's where I felt inclined to express myself.
Cool.
Right? So then I thought the best way to go is go to the traditional route, go through, get a psychology degree, and I went to UBC, and, I did research on various different topics, right? Talking from, how the brain works, from a biological neuroscience level to a behavioral social level, right? So I was studying really hard, and then in my third year, my mom actually got sick. She was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, and that was a very difficult time because I could not focus in school at all, right? And I was forced to, produce these grades. So I actually did the unpredictable. I just, I pretty much quit in the middle of the year. And I wanted to go on a vacation, and I was thinking maybe I'll go to Cancun. My brother's like, no, go somewhere far and go for a long time. And I'm like, you know what, you're right. I need to grow. I need to detach. And at this point, like, I already knew my mom is okay, so it's not like I'm like, hey, bye, mom. Good luck. This is like a few months after, after surgery, and she recovered, and it didn't reoccur.
Oh, great. That's great.
Yeah. So just to make that clear. And so I packed my bags and I left Southeast Asia. I went for 3 months, and I backpacked by my own. And by the way, you guys, I think you should absolutely go travel on your own. If you want to express yourself, have you traveled on your own too, or?
I've done some small trips. I haven't left the States yet, but I'm definitely a spend time alone person.
States is a big continent. You got lots to see.
Yes.
So yeah, I did that. And you know what was really cool? Because when I went there, I was originally with self-discovery. So I stayed at a Muay Thai camp in Thailand, learned self-defense, and it was good. The training for the mind and body. And then I traveled up north to Cambodia. And this is kind of where my research and my whole philosophy on life pretty much changed, because as you guys know, Cambodia was struck with a huge genocide. I believe it was in 1974. It lasted about 3 years. Don't put me on that. It's been a while since I've since I've done my research. But I worked in an orphanage at the time, right? And you know what? To be honest, I didn't do my research on what country I was going into. I was going like, yeah, I'll pick this place on a map. And at the time that when I arrived in Cambodia, they were actually having like a huge festival. It was a celebration of the waves, changing tides, and they do boat races. So everybody gets on this bridge, right? And I got on, and like as soon as I got off the plane from Thailand, I already saw like 3 scooter accidents. I was like, okay. And what happened is that there were so many people. Like I didn't get to go on the bridge, but there were so many people packed on this bridge that they were stuck, and the cops were trying to water them down to get hydrated, but they couldn't move. And somebody said the bridge is falling, and people started panicking, and they started a stampede. They started stomping on each other, trying to get off the bridge. It was crazy. It was crazy. And the cops tried to calm them down. And when they sprayed water on them, they ended up electrocuting 300 people. Gone. Just like that.
Oh.
And this was devastating because it was the first time so many people have passed away since the genocide about 30 years ago. So it was such a brutal reminder of the tragedy that they suffered from before. And I was like, wow. And at the time I was working at an orphanage, so our job was to connect. The orphanage I was working at is Safe Havens Children's Trust, based out of London. And yeah, our job was to connect kids with missing family members. And I was like, wow. I feel like, coming as a Westerner, people in the Western societies, they always talk about anxiety and depression. But when you go to a third world country and experience a tragedy like that, it's almost as if they don't have time to be depressed. All they know is survival, right? Yep. But the cool thing, and the whole point of the story is, that's when I discovered the concept of meaning making. So you can't go in there with Western therapy and try to heal their problems. You have to view their problems from their lens, from their perspective, and that's through a Buddhist lens, through their own Khmer culture, and using those practices to help them cope. So that's kind of what, that's kind of how what carved the path for me, is that, wow, if I really want to help people, it doesn't matter what I believe in. It doesn't matter what my point of view of life is. It's what they believe in that matters, and using that as a platform to help them.
Yep.
So I ended up, after my travels, I ended up creating a research proposal on the types of coping mechanisms they use So it's a scale that I created based on their Buddhist practices and beliefs.
Oh, wow.
Right? And I would use narratives, and I would code narratives for people that survived Khmer Rouge genocide, and see if there's a pattern in coping. And meaning making was one of the most reoccurrent themes. So that's the beauty about it, is that we have the power to interpret our situations and give them meaning that is a functional meaning for us to help us go forward in our lives. And that's the biggest question I always had, is like, what makes some people more resilient,
right,
and some people fall off their path?
Yep.
What is that spice that makes people go forward? And in my opinion, I think the power lies in the meaning we give to our situations.
Absolutely.
Has there ever been a time where you kind of, you had something happen in your life, and the only way you can get out of it is by defining it in a way that has to move forward?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, that's the whole basis behind REFUZE, and the whole concept all came down to me and my life journey, and applying the absolute wrong meanings to everything all the time, and then finally realizing that and being like, wow, I've just been beating myself up all this time, when it's just a simple mind shift of looking at it from a different perspective, or applying that different meaning, and it just instantly changes everything. It's like a light switch. It's pretty incredible.
Absolutely.
That's kind of my thing now, is to offer that to other people, because it's so life-changing.
Yeah, and that's the cool part, is that you have the power to define your life, right? And that's what happened with me, is that so I had this really cool research proposal, and I went to the Canadian Psychology Conference in Quebec, and I got a chance to present it and network, with other professors. And that's kind of how, through my lab, I'm working in a lab at UBC with Peter Sudfeld, and I got presented to apply for an internship in Harvard, where I got to work with Dan Gilbert. He wrote Stumbling Upon Happiness, and I got to so I went there to travel and research with the top people in the field, right?
That's
and
incredible.
Really one of the most fascinating studies that I came across there and we're working on, is that people are really bad at predicting what makes them happy and how they're going to cope when something really bad happens to them.
Okay.
Right? If I tell you right now, hey, okay, I'm Romanian, right? So I'm a gypsy. I have a crystal ball, and I can say okay, something bad's going to happen in the future.
Right.
Okay.
How are you going to handle?
How are you going to handle? You're going to lose your job. Do you think you're going to feel pretty shitty about that, or?
I would have no idea. I would have no way of. I mean, now me, maybe because I've studied and and I've got my plan laid out for me. But the average person without those tools and skills.
Yeah.
Just a few years ago, I would just sit there dumbfounded, I don't know.
Right. Well, that's the crazy thing is that they've done studies on people, for example, that they're paraplegic, and or ended up in wheelchairs, and and compared them to people that have won the lottery,
right?
Become super wealthy, and people that actually went through a lot of hardships before, they predict that they're not going to be able to cope with it, but when they actually deal with it, they actually are much happier.
Yep.
Because they come out with a new meaning of life. Even people that are given diagnosis with terminal illnesses, when they overcome it, they're like, wow, I'm a new person. I'm actually
that appreciation.
I'm actually having gratitude in my life. Right? So when things fall apart, you're equipped with everything to deal with it. You are more resilient and more capable than you give yourself credit for.
Mm-hmm.
That's what fascinates me, and that's what I want to ignite the light within people, that they do have that ability. So kind of going back, what happened with my career.
Please.
Is one of the main reasons I came to Canada is because I was diagnosed with scoliosis, which is basically a curvature in the spine.
Okay.
And I had surgery here in Canada at BC Children's Hospital, and I donate all the time, and it was a very successful surgery, and I was fine for 14 years. But given the fact that I was a student all my life, what are you doing? You're sitting at a computer, you're hunched, you're carrying a heavy backpack, right?
Yeah.
And eventually the lifestyle took a toll on me, and it got so bad to the point where I couldn't even sit for an hour. And
Wow.
I was in so much pain. And, you know, trust me, I tried laying down, I tried sitting and standing up. I did everything, and no matter what, I was in pain. The only way I felt good is if I was mobile. Okay? So, you know, the fall came around, and I had to do my grad school applications. I already had like 2 offers before I even applied to clinical psych, and I was freaking excited. Like, not a lot of people get that opportunity.
Sure.
This is something I've been working for all my life. You know, 6 years of university, like, it's not cheap. And you know, I kept pushing myself. I'm like, mind over matter, Yulia. Just like, it's okay. Like, your body's not real. The mind can change everything. Like, I'm crazy. I really took this to the but it got to the point where I was, you know, I was being unrealistic, and I had to quit.
Wow.
I had to turn down my offers, and I had to change my whole career around. I was devastated.
I could only imagine.
Yeah, like, you know, this is my passion, and yeah, I didn't leave my room for like a month. But then I decided that, you know, I need to do something out of this, and that's when I went into fitness, and I wanted to help people that were in pain like me, and I wanted to understand myself as well.
Which is incredible.
But then I realized I didn't really like working with people in that way. It's just like, man, to have a client who, like, you know, see them this many times a week, every day for a couple months, it's just like, it's exhausting. And I feel like my power, it really lies in working with the mind rather than with the body.
Gotcha.
Right? And that's when I stumbled upon a product called Bima, which is actually really good for reducing inflammation in your joints and in your muscle, which is what I had. I kept aggravating the pain. And that combined with the physio and exercise actually did decrease my pain levels. So like, I found a product that I was really passionate about, not even knowing that it was an MLM. So you're drinking body, bro. I'm actually going to do a challenge with that soon.
That's how I get ready for my shows.
That's awesome. Crazy. So yeah, and like I stumbled upon a business opportunity, and then I realized, hey, I can work with people's minds, and I can empower them financially, mentally, and physically,
Sure.
right? And that's kind of how I started going down that route. And you know, I got to network with a lot of phenomenal people who have a lot of knowledge of the industry. I got to meet top entrepreneurs like Gary Vaynerchuk, Darren Hardy, right? And like, it's just like Bob Proctor.
I saw you with Bob. Yeah.
It was just such an eye-opening. And then like, I've been in sales before. Like, I've done a lot of personal development for the past 7 years. I've done everything like direct to B2B, telemarketing. And I was used to a lot of like direct sales type of stuff. So I was in my field. And I was building teams, and then I kind of got introduced because one of my team members, his name's Chris Landry. You could check him out. He's got a blog as well. Cool. He does all of that, but online. And I'm like, that's really cool because instead of building a team and having one-on-one every time, why don't I use that energy? And like, let's say I'll make a video, and then I can impact thousands of people.
Millions, endless, right? Exactly.
Right? And I'm like, I just found a love for network marketing and combining that with online.
Yep.
And you're talking major leverage here, right? You're talking international customers, international business, right? And the opportunities are limitless.
Absolutely.
So the cool thing is that at the same time, I also get to build my own personal brand.
Yep.
And, you know, being another that promotes different products that I love. And that way, and I think that's really important because your brand is something that you have for all of your life, no matter what MLM you're in. So you should
never
always
run out of you.
that up.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's what attracted me to the blogging world. Now, I did kind of up for a little bit, and the reason being, just a month ago, my life is freaking crazy. My house burned down.
Which
Yeah,
I
I
saw
thought
that
it
on
was
one of your
sport.
blog posts. That's
He was like,
insane.
yeah, it was like, what? Okay. And that month was like such a crazy month. Like, I don't even know, maybe there was something going on in the universe. Like, just to give you an idea, I was at a job that, because I still had my daytime job and I was still building my MLM on the side. Like, it's like I do everything at once, right? And I wasn't really happy with my daytime job, and I just like decided, like, I was just doing sales for a gym. And I'm like, you guys don't really respect my value. And I was also in a relationship at the time, and he didn't really see my value either. And something just came over me. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna pack my bags and just go to the island by myself. I'm not even gonna tell anyone. I showed up to work literally with like my suitcase, and I'm like, this is the last days you guys are gonna see me. And then, and then I, hop on a ferry, and I call my friend, and I'm like, yeah, like I'm leaving for a couple days.
Wow.
And it was honestly, you need to do that. You need to retreat, and you need to figure out what the hell do you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And I did that, and I came back, and we broke up because I was like, things are just not working out. And literally a week later, that's when my house burned down. And I was like, what the hell, man?
Jeez.
Like, what's going on? This was only about a month ago. And yeah, we lost pretty much everything. My family is okay though, and like that's like number one.
Absolutely,
and right. You think I'd be really depressed, but because of this fire, it actually forced us to come back as a unit, like how we were when we first came to Canada.
Isn't that amazing?
And because we've been kind of growing apart. We've been growing apart for a while. Like, I'm going to school, my brother's doing his own thing, like,
right.
And it was such a beautiful moment. Like, especially because, like, my dad, he's a truck driver. He's 60 years old and he's still on the road, and that breaks my heart. And like, I don't get a lot of contact with him because of that.
Right.
And as a result of that, we really became like the Tudor tribe, man. Like,
isn't that amazing?
Together, we're like, okay, what are we gonna do? Like, so what my main point with this whole story is that a tragedy is actually disguised as a blessing. True. And you have the opportunity to define yourself. When you lose everything, when everything is cleared off your plate, that is the perfect time to start fresh and be the person you want to become and live the life that you really want to live, because you started for zero. How often do you get to start from zero? We carry so many heavy bags with us all in our life. Our history, our past, I'm already in this job, or I'm already in this relationship. It's actually a beautiful thing to start from zero.
Absolutely.
It's actually starting from a source of power, because now I get to decide and shape exactly the life that I want to live. And instead of going to my shell, I decided to share that with the world. So if you're going through something, express yourself, right? And if you're too embarrassed to share it with the world, then at least my camera fell. If you're too embarrassed to share it with the world, at least share it with yourself.
Right.
I know, I'm crazy. I'm all over the place.
That's all right.
But
I love your energy.
So, like, it's just, you have a choice, right? You have a choice to either be resilient or be victorious, right? You're the only person that's going to pull yourself out of a situation. All that power is in your hands, right? You just need to get fed up with being down and depressed, and realize, like, there's other people in this world, sometimes thinking of worst case scenarios. That's why I encourage traveling by yourself to, non-Western countries, and see that other people have it so much worse.
The full immersion. Right.
Whatever, man. I had insurance, I have a family, everyone's alive. And
right.
I'm in a country that has a social system that has a net. Like, I'm good.
Right.
And then there's other people
Absolutely.
that are traveling kilometers to get dirty water that could potentially kill them.
Which is exactly why I'm connected with Charity Water through this. This summit is connected with Charity Water.
Oh, well, do tell us what's the charity work that you're doing?
Charity Water is exactly what you're saying. They develop water projects in developing countries. So places that don't have access to clean water, like you were just saying, traveling, well, for me, it's miles, but kilometers, however you say it, traveling hours and hours a day, children and, parents just to get access to water, and then the water that they're drinking is killing them anyway. So it's just a horrible situation. But through charitywater.org, I'm donating the proceeds from this summit will then become either a product or a donation, and that money will go to Charity Water. And I'm hoping by the end of this year to be able to $10,000 is what you need to produce one water project start to finish. So I'm looking to generate that $10,000 and before the end of the year actually accomplish.
That's amazing.
Doing a water project somewhere, and then I'd like to travel to that project and
Yes.
film it and make it a part of the.
Well, let's get our listeners involved.
Yeah, so that's what that's one of the add-ons to this that'll eventually come out. But
perfect. Well, that's amazing. And I think like it's really that like if you have that passion and drive behind it, what you're doing, you can't fail.
Absolutely.
Because you like no matter how many times you fall down, you'll get up because you know that there's kids across the world that are counting on you, or whatever your drive or your passion is. When you have that fuel, you're unstoppable. So that's really beautiful.
I mean, and hearing your story and just exactly what you were just saying is exactly what again the REFUZE program and concept is all about. Is you have to get to that point where you finally say, enough's enough, and I refuse to accept what it is that's going on in my life right now, and I want to make a difference. And the first R in REFUZE stands for reset your defaults, and it's basically take all the shit that you've learned from other people, telling you who you are and what you should do and how you exist in this world, and just getting rid of all that and starting back down to zero, like you said, getting down to your rawest self. And I think that's the video that I saw of you just after your house burnt down, and I think you did a short video about that specifically. And I said, I have got to talk to this young lady. It was that video exactly, because I was like, we are just so in line with our messages. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
So, do you have any specific maybe approaches or maybe some tools that you could suggest to some people on how to actually accomplish that, how to implement that in your life, how to actually?
Yeah, I made a video about how to deal with pain, how to move on with the hurt. It was more tailored to how to deal with someone hurting you.
Okay.
But it could be applied to a situation that you got hurt from as well. And the most important part is to allow yourself to express all the stages of grief, right? If you want to be sad, cry. If you want, then once you're done crying, then you're like, okay, what am I doing? Like, if you want to be angry, be angry. Whatever you're doing, focus on a feeling that's a little more empowering. Your main number one goal is to feel good, because if you feel good, you're going to keep attracting that. And it doesn't have to be from like depressed to ecstatic, right? But you have to go through the stages to get there. And that's just like in general, like if you're going through something that's challenging you, ask yourself, okay, what can I do right now to I can make myself feel better, right? Like even with people that are stuck in jobs that they don't like, the reason why you're not moving forward is because you're doing something that puts you at a lower frequency, right? And then you feel like it's a burden in your life, and you just get like stuck in this cycle. But if you're focusing on your passion and you're focusing on feeling good, then the universe around you will align with your energy, right? So if you're going through something that's tragic, just if your intention from the very beginning was like, okay, I want to feel good, I want to improve the world, I want to make a positive difference, then when things fall apart on your path, it's because they weren't meant to be there, or they're a catalyst to put you on the right path. Right. So something like, and it's always like that. If you look at like really successful people in this world, some of them were like homeless.
Horrible. Right. Yeah.
And they started from the ground up, because you have to have sometimes you have to have everything fall apart, everything clear off your path, so that you can really go on the path that you're meant to go. Yeah. So that's the meaning that I'm giving to it, that is functional for me to go forward, right? Awesome. So that's the beauty part. You can create that meaning, but make sure it's a positive meaning that makes you feel good and helps you move forward.
There you go.
right? If they have like specific questions or whatever, I always encourage, people to reach out to me either on my blog or Facebook, Instagram, because I can actually make a video personalized to their needs,
That's
right? If you need like specific tool with a specific situation, but generally focus on feeling good and give yourself a meaning that improves the quality of your life.
And you've heard it from her herself. So basically, what you're saying is to, instead of making self-defeating statements or having self-defeating beliefs, ask yourself empowering questions and align with your purpose and moving forward in a positive, meaningful way.
Yeah, and as long as you feel good, like your feeling is your detector for whether you're on the right path. That's really that's your intuition, your gut feeling. It is never wrong, even if it defies logic. Like, it doesn't make sense with what's going on in the world. You know what's right.
Right.
You know what feels good. Listen to that.
That's
and you'll be surprised what happens when you actually follow that full-heartedly.
Intuition is something that I've been really focusing on learning more about and studying. That's something I'm going to start incorporating into a lot of my programs moving forward. If anybody out there has any questions specific, Yulia would love to field those questions and offer you a video response in return, a custom video response, which is amazing. Thank you so much for that generous offer.
And I just wanted to say, there's a few things that I'm doing. I'm helping people build their brand online and how to basically, make a living off of producing the content that you love and following your passion and, doing something that makes you feel good and actually monetizing that. So I do coaching on that. So it's the same thing. You go to my blog, it's yuliatutor.com, and then you click the link that says Hypertruth, and then that will show them how I actually help people build a brand online. And then I also do personal development, either coaching one-on-one, or if you have a specific video or topic that maybe I haven't covered in this recording, reach out to me and I'll cover it. I'll help out as best as I could. So that's just a few things that I'm doing right now, and I'll keep you guys posted for new and cool, exciting projects to come.
Thanks a lot, Yulia.
Thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure. Let's do this again sometime.
I'm sure we're going to a lot more in the future. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, guys, I'm off to my hot yoga now.
Have a great time. Enjoy.
Bye.
See ya.